national anthem. 1, 2, go.
Arise, O compatriot, to serve our Father. From Oyo State.
Showing the geopolitical spread.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very delighted to welcome you all to the formal presentation of the report on the review of the vertical revenue allocation formula. Permit me to start, Your Excellency, by commending the efforts of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission for completing this exercise, which is supposed to be undertaken every 5 years, but was unfortunately done last in 1992. Your Excellency may wish to note that in undertaking this assignment, the Commission followed due process and carried out due diligence by considering both primary and secondary data, assigned responsibilities to the 3 tiers of government in line with the relevant sections of the Constitution, held consultations across all geopolitical zones, and sought the opinion of the federal government before finalizing this report. The submission of this report today, Mr. President, aligns with your avowed commitment to ensure that basic fundamentals are strengthened for equitable and just allocation of resources to all tiers of government for sustainable development in our country. Your Excellency, permit me to inform you that the report being presented today is in 4 volumes, with the main report that summarizes them. Volume 1 contains the various memoranda submitted by the federal and state governments, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, while Volume 2 details the presentation for the academia, civil society, professional bodies, traditional rulers, individuals as well as women and youth councils. To complete the inclusiveness of the stakeholder participatory processes adopted, Volume 3 is a research that captures the body of knowledge that supported the review, while Volume 4 is a further distillation of submissions by the state and local governments, as well as non-governmental organizations and the area councils of the Federal Capital Territory. It is therefore my pleasure, Your Excellency, and honor to now ask the chairman, with the permission of Mr. Femi Adesina, to go ahead and come and present his report to Your Excellency. Thank you for.
My colleagues, members of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, sir, members of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission are pleased to be here today on a special mission which has profound significance and implication to the socio-economic development and unity of our dear country. I therefore humbly express our sincere appreciation to Your Excellency for finding time to meet with us despite your usually crowded program. Sir, as you may be aware, Section 32B, Part 1 of the 3rd Schedule of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, empowers the Commission to review from time to time the revenue allocation formula and principle in operation to ensure conformity with changing realities, provided that any revenue formula which has been accepted by an act of the National Assembly shall remain in force for a period of not less than 5 years from the date of commencement of the Act. Pursuant to the above constitutional provisions, therefore, the Commission reviewed the vertical revenue allocation formula last year, 2021. The consideration of the exercise was informed by the following factors. 1, the last general review of the revenue allocation formula was done over 29 years ago, precisely 1992. 2, The political structure of the country has since changed with the creation of 6 additional states in 1996, which brought the number of states to 36. Correspondingly, the number of local government also increased from 589 to 774. 3. There have been considerable changes arising from policy reforms that alter the relative share of responsibilities of the various tiers of government, such as deregulation, privatization, and the lingering controversies over funding of primary education, primary health care, etc., etc. 4. Inadequate to decay infrastructure and heightened widespread internal security challenges across the country. 5. Ecological challenges like global warming, desertification, flooding, and population explosion. And 6. Inability of the vertical formula to adequately address the apparent mismatch between statutory assigned functions and tax powers of each of the 3 tiers of government. The leading philosophy behind the proposed vertical revenue allocation formula, which we are presenting today, was guided by the need for distributive justice, equity, and fairness, as enshrined in relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The principles took into cognizance the indivisibility of the country, public opinion, and weighted constitutional responsibility and functions of each of the 3 tiers of government. The Commission, in reviewing the revenue allocation formula as contained in this report, carried out the following activities. 1. Literature review of revenue allocation formula in Nigeria dating back to pre-independence period. 2. Study of fiscal matters relating to revenue allocation. 3. Invitation of memoranda from public sector, individuals, and private institutions across the country. 4. Visitation to the 36 states, Federal Capital Territory, and 774 local government areas to sensitize and obtain inputs from stakeholders. 5. Studies of some other federations with similar fiscal arrangements like Nigeria to draw useful lessons from their experiences. 6. Wide consultation with major stakeholders, including leaders of thought and elder statesmen. 7. Public hearing in all the geopolitical zones in the country. And 8. Administration of questionnaires. Your Excellency, sir, the proposed revenue allocation formula is made up of the main report, which contains 8 chapters, and annexures 1 to 4, which are the compilation of memoranda received from the federal, state, and local governments, civil society organizations, the organized private sector, women and youth groups and individuals, and report on research studies on fiscal issues undertaken by the Commission. The different data, views, and memoranda received were analyzed and summarized accordingly. Furthermore, secondary statistical data were obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Bureau of Statistics, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and the Federal Ministry of Finance from 2010 to 2020 on the total revenue expenditure profiles of the states and federal governments. These were deductively analyzed to ensure that the processes were scientific and relatively objective. The Commission also considered the Supreme Court ruling of 5th April 2002 in suit number SC 28/2001, which did not actually fault the philosophy or concept of special fund aimed at tackling peculiar problems, as well as statutory responsibility that requires special attention as a common responsibility of the federating units. In this respect, the Commission therefore recommended the retention of special funds to take care of national and environmental disaster stabilization and sustainable development of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Furthermore, Your Excellency, In making the recommendations, the Commission, guided by relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended on the provision of primary education, also recommended that funding of primary education, particularly the payment of primary school teachers' salaries and allowances, should be the responsibilities of the state government. Your Excellency, it is with high sense of responsibility that I wish to inform you that after the application of the above analysis and considerations, the following new vertical revenue allocation formula emerged and are hereby advised. Federal government, 45.17%, state government, 29.79%, local government, 21.04%, special fund, ecology, 1%, stabilization, 0.5%, development of natural resources, 1.3%, federal capital territory, 1.2%, total 100%. Sir, permit me at this junction to acknowledge the cooperation of all stakeholders in the course of this assignment. In particular, we wish to thank Your Excellency, Mr. President, for making funds available for the exercise, and the National Assembly for their support and encouragement, for which the Commission is grateful. We also appreciate the support of other tiers of government, state and local government, for their cooperation throughout the exercise. We especially thank our leaders and other statesmen for their resilience, support, and understanding in the actualization of this laudable national exercise. Mr. President, sir, it is my honor and privilege to present to you. That is mine, this.
It will be done during the photography.
Okay, I will do the presentation.
Yes, during the photography.
Okay. Mr. President, sir, it is my honor and privilege to present to you, on behalf of the Commission, the report on the review of the revenue allocation formula in line with the provisions of Section 32B, Part 1 of the third schedule, and Section 162, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Thank you, sir, for listening, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
To the Government of the Federation, the Chief of Staff, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to formally receive the report of the review of the vertical revenue allocation formula from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission as part of fulfilling its constitutional mandate. I commend the chairman and members of the commission for their diligence in ensuring that the processes leading to this report was all-inclusive. I also want to thank Nigerians, especially the state and local governments, for making their inputs through the broad stakeholder engagement processes that produce this report. I am aware that the present revenue allocation formula has not been reviewed since the last exercise carried out in 1992. Considering the changing dynamics of our political economy, such as privatization, deregulation, funding arrangement of primary education, primary health care, and growing clamor for decentralization, among others, it is necessary that we take another look at our revenue sharing formula, especially the vertical aspect that relates to the tiers of government. This becomes more compelling as we need to reduce our infrastructural deficit, make more resources available for tackling insecurity, confront climate change and its associated global warming, and make life more meaningful for our rapid growing population. As an advocate for grassroots development, I have always remained committed to ensuring that all tiers of government are treated fairly, equally, and justly in the sharing of national resources. I want to tell you all now that I have keenly followed most of the discussions held in the geopolitical consultative processes, and one thing that struck me clearly was the agreement that a review of our vertical revenue formula cannot and should not be an emotional or sentimental discussion, and it cannot be done arbitrarily. All over the world, revenue and resource allocation have always been a function of the level of responsibilities attached to the different components or tiers of government. I am therefore happy to note that the discussions were held along these lines and rested squarely on roles and responsibilities as spelled out in the 1999 Constitution as amended. However, I also note that in searching the final decisions at most of these engagements, not much emphasis was placed on the fact that the second schedule of the Nigerian Constitution contains 68 items on the executive legislative list and the remaining 30 items on the concurrent list requiring both the federal and state government to address. It is thus very clear that for us to have a lasting review of the present revenue allocation formula, we must first agree on the responsibilities to be carried out by all the tiers of the government. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I particularly note that the proposal seeks a 3.3% reduction in the current federal government allocation, and on the other hand, an increase of 3.07% and 0.4% for the states and local governments on the other hand. With regards to the social funds, an increase of a 0.2% for the Federal Capital Territory and a decrease of 0.38% for development of natural resources are being proposed. As you are aware, the federal government also made its input into the process of reviewing the vertical revenue allocation formula based on existing constitutional provisions for roles and responsibilities for the different tiers of government. We must note the increasing visibility in subnational level responsibilities due to weaknesses at the level, for example, A, primary health care, B, basic primary education, and C, levels of insecurity, and D, increased remittances to state and local government through the value-added tax sharing formula, where the federal government has only 15% and the state and local government share 50% and 35% respectively. Ordinarily, I would have gone ahead to table this report before the National Assembly as a bill for enactment. However, since the review of the vertical revenue allocation formula is a function of the roles and responsibilities of the different tiers of government, I will await the final outcome of the constitutional review process, especially as some of the proposed amendments would have a bearing on the recommendation contained herein, such as A, establishing local government as a tier of government and the associated abrogation of the state local government account. B, moving airports, fingerprints, identification, and criminal records from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list. C, empowering the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission to enforce compliance with remittance of accruals into and disbursement of revenue from the Federation account, and D, streamlining the procedure for reviewing the revenue allocation formula. I want to assure you that the federal government will immediately subject this report to its internal review and approval processes while awaiting finalization of the efforts by the National Assembly. This strategy, rather than issuing an executive modification order as was done in 1992, is more in line with stretching our democratic tenets. Once more, I thank the Commission for a job painstakingly done, and as government considers this report, I want to reassure you of my unwavering commitment and support to you in carrying out your constitutional mandates. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.